of the auspicious sound of Om, and then we shall commence with our talks on inner self meditation and some practical experience of getting in touch with the inner self. So first of all, we sit erect with gently closing the eyes, palms resting on the knees. Then inhale. 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 Feel the vibrations, feeling relaxed, feeling calm and centered. Slowly open the eyes. Fine. So we'll start our meditation session. First of all, from your side, somebody should tell me, somebody should come up with what idea do you have in your mind when we say inner self. What's your idea of inner self? So I would like to know from you all. Somebody should say something. Yes? Okay, what is inner self? You can say something you would like. Okay, something from your consciousness, subconscious mind. Okay, and subconscious mind. Okay, and something about spirit, soul. Okay, so see here, inner self. We should connect with the inner self when we say that inner self. So inner self means what? Inner self is that real self which you can say consciousness. Okay? Which is the consciousness. Fine? Chetana. The spirit. And that's the essence of our being. That's the essence of our being. That's our center. That's our core. Like there is something and then there is a core of something. So whatever personality, whatever physical and external appearance and personality we carry with ourselves, that's one thing. And then there is something inner self. That's the core of our existence, the core of our being. Right? So that is the core, that's the consciousness, that's the essence, the real self. Okay? So, when we say the inner self, it's basically like you get in touch with your own self. Because with too much of thinking, with too much of things happening around, with too much of things to do, and with lots and lots of thoughts in the daily hustle bustle of the life, what happens is we tend to lose touch with ourselves. We tend to lose touch with our own self. So when we say that we tend to lose the touch with our own self, that's what I'm talking with, the real self, the inner self. Okay? We think that we are, then we act in our daily life when we do all these mundane things, we think that, okay, we are the self, but our awareness is actually so much externalized that we lose touch with our own essence, with our own core, with our center. Right? So that is what we are trying to touch upon today as inner self. Okay? Which is the consciousness. Right? So, this session today, and whenever you contemplate and meditate on the inner self, as we're doing today here in this session, is appointment with your own self. Okay? So, what happens every day? We have many appointments, okay, with Mr. this and Miss She and Mrs. She and Mr. X and Mr. Y. Okay? In some offices, in some neighbor, or with some relatives, or with some friend, or for your business, for your work, for this and that. So we have a lot of appointments. So in the flood of those appointments, we lose the sight from one appointment, which is the most basic and most important appointment, and that is the appointment with the self. Isn't it? So today we are trying to touch upon that. We are trying to remind ourselves that we have inner self, we have our own existence, our own consciousness, our own nature, a true spirit, and that we have to come back to. We have to have some time to find appointment with our own self. We have to fix up an appointment with our own self. So that's what we are trying to touch upon. So this is why initially I was talking to give you an idea what concept today we have of inner self. Okay? So what happens with so many appointments, all the time our senses and mind will run out. It will run all the ways, all the directions outside. Suppose there's a circle and all the energies, all the arrows running out. Okay? And then the center of the circle, there's a dot, there's a point which is the core. And there's no energy, no arrow coming to the core. It's all going out. So today we are trying to bring our energies, our awareness towards our center. Okay? So this is what I mean by inner self. This is how this term is. And it is such a wonderful practice, it is such a wonderful concept, it is such a wonderful reality, that once you start coming in touch with your inner self, then you feel your life completely changed. You feel your attitude, your life, all your thinking completely transformed. Absolutely transformed from something to something. There's a complete shift. It's called paradigm shift, completely shift. Okay? So, you've heard of Gestalt effect? Somebody has heard Gestalt? No? Okay. Like you've seen, some people have those photos where, you see something and then if you see from, again you keep watching, then you see something else. Okay? There's like a glass and then you see somebody's face. Have you seen such photographs? No, same 2 times, but it's just watching. So you see, this is an elephant, 4 legs of elephant, then you see, no, this is not 4 legs of elephant, this is something else. And this glass one is very famous. You see a glass, and then you see, no, it's face, nose, lips, and then you see. So that is Gestalt effect. That is what is completely changing your vision. So from the external self, the moment you touch upon your inner self, the whole view changes. The whole scene undergoes a total change. From something, you start seeing something else. Absolutely different. Okay? So what happens is, basically, we are connected to the external world through our senses, through body, through intellect, through our ego, okay, and through the limitations of time and space. Fine. So, you see through the eyes. So it's all external. If you close your eyes, you see dark. But if you keep your eyes closed for a moment, and little more while, and you fall into meditation, then you see your inner self. Then you come in contact with your inner self. You hear from the outside sound, external sound. When you stop hearing that, then you listen to your inner voice. The voice of your soul, the voice of your consciousness, of your inner self. So senses are internalized. The mind, thinking, planning for the future, planning ahead, thinking from the past. And when the mind starts becoming still, then you come in touch with your own self. But we don't let the mind become still. We think the mind will find all the answers. The intellect. The intellect is the intellectual smartness. We think that no, we are so smart, we'll find answers to everything through our intellect. So our mind keeps running. Our intellect is always busy in finding answers, planning things, doing this and that. So that intellect does not let us get settled, because it's all the time we are using intellect. All the time we are using the mind. So then we are all the time externalized. We are dependent on mind and intellect and senses. So we are all the time externalized. And then that doesn't let us come in contact with our real self. Because till your senses are internalized, till your mind becomes still, till you tell your intellect that, okay, I agree, you are great and smart and everything, but for a while please have a seat. Till you tell your intellect for a little while, till then you are not going to get in touch with your own self. Okay? So all this connected, mind, intellect, ego. Okay? The ego comes up. Yeah, so that ego creates a lot of concepts. Mind, intellect, ego, they all together, they create a lot of concepts. Okay? So we create a lot of conditioning in the mind. So our viewpoint is always distorted. And they're all the time planning, all the time busy finding solutions. So till we make this still for a while, we don't come in contact with the real self. Okay? So, through simple meditations of inner self, we just try to have gestalt effect, seeing something to something, that from this external thing, we just try to go inside, connect within yourself. And the moment you connect, and you start doing that, start connecting, you feel such a huge rush of energy. You feel tremendous peace, tremendous energy. And you're completely refreshed. And you find so much of peace, so much of bliss inside, which you were looking all the time outside. But which your mind and your intellect were not able to give you. And the moment you give them rest, and you touch upon sudden energy, sudden spark of electricity, that's such a vast amount of peace that you don't want to come out of that